Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where I'll be giving you my reaction and review to Aishiteru by Baseball Bear, my first ever time hearing the band. And just so you know, if you want to see the reaction, I've just done the reaction part of the video, and you can watch that as always by pausing this and opening up a separate little YouTube player by clicking the link in the description below, which will allow you to watch the song with me, because I'm about to give you the review. So if you want to hear the song, if you haven't heard it before, or if you just want to watch it along with me and see what my initial reaction was before getting the review, then go and click on that link and pause this video now. Otherwise, here comes the review. Don't say I didn't warn you. Alright, so this song was interesting on many levels. Now, if we were to deconstruct this, effectively, I mean, and like I say, as always, I'll be honest, I'll say the things I like and I dislike, but overall I really liked this. But I've been thinking in the last few seconds since I saw it, how exactly do I approach the fact that on paper, this is the sort of thing that I often dislike and often complain about. So let's go through the things. I mean, you guys will probably know some of these things from watching my reviews before. I basically like all genres of music. I really do mean that, except for there are some tropes, certain things that obviously I like less than others. So this has a lot of things that usually I would complain about, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to own up to them first of all before I explain why I actually enjoyed this. First of all is the fact that it is a strummy, jangly sounding guitar song. You know, that sort of indie sounding strum thing, which we've heard a lot from bands like over the years. You know, you've had a Bump of Chicken, basically a good band, but you know, they did a lot of that sort of thing. Radwimps, Asian Kung Fu Generation often do it. I'm not saying these bands don't have more facets to them, but they do have a lot of that sort of jangly, middle of the road style indie guitar rock thing, and you know, indie guitar soft rock thing, and it is a very popular trend in Japan, and one that I find very rarely actually offers up anything particularly standout. It just sounds like a lot of bands cloning the same sound a lot of the time, and usually most of those bands are at their most interesting when they do something completely crazy, which is one of the reasons why Bump of Chicken was so interesting a lot of the times, because they would often pull out a song that was just totally out of character. So yeah, on paper, that sound, not one that I'm usually fond of. Second of all is there's a slightly repetitive nature to the chorus going round and round with the same line. And the fact that the chorus is majority only made up of 2 chords. And as you guys know, I always push for more chords in my songs. The more chords, the better. But, you know, in that sense, that was something that I usually would dislike. And also the vocal style was that kind of that overly laid back male vocal. I tend to find that that's something that sometimes on its own is not a problem, but with a jangly guitar rock song ends up with everything sounding very mid-rangey, and the songs as a result lack much impact. So those are the things that I would usually complain about. So why were those things not a problem? Why did I come out of this actually going, I really enjoyed that and wanting to hear it again? Well, there's several things that I can pinpoint off the top of my head. First of all is the fact that I'm going to start by mentioning that something that isn't the music, just to once again be completely honest off the bat. The Baseball Bear bat. I can't help but mention that, yes, the video, I really enjoyed the video, and you can never take away from the fact that a video can make a song much more enjoyable. And it lent a real sense of character to the band that helped a lot, because a lot of the sort of jangly bands who I was just kind of saying often don't wow me very much. Usually it's because in their videos they tend to be very stoic as well, so there tends to be a lack of any form of charm. You know, sort of exceptions, like one of the Asian Kung Fu Generation songs that sticks most in my head is the one where the video is the one with the synchronized dancers, and then just suddenly like a huge lobster appears underneath the swimming pool and just starts dragging them away, just randomly. So synchronized swimming dancers, whatever they call that. So, you know, synchronized swimmers, that's it. That would probably have been the obvious answer that I should have come to quicker. So, you know, sometimes a video can add an extra element of charm that makes you take the song in a little bit more. And this one, you know, it was obvious how they did the little trick, you know, occasionally cutting away and sort of redressing them and everything. But it was just so fun having them sort of walking around, just randomly taking off clothes, just for seemingly no reason. And yeah, I'm sure there's something deeper in the lyrics that I perhaps didn't notice. I wasn't reading the subtitles. I was concentrating more on the music, and I did pick up some of the lyrics anyway, but, you know, I mean, there might have been something to explain that better, but still, as a gimmick, it was really fun. They had a lot of personality in the way they did it. I think it was it the drummer? No, I think it was the lead guitarist maybe, who started going crazy like halfway through. there was just a weird charm to it. It was slightly stoic in places, but it was weirdly charming. If anything, the way that they were so stoic in the face of, the bizarre thing that they were doing was kind of fun. And the fact that it starts with them playing the first note and then they come back and play the last note. Like I said, the video added a lot to it. But it isn't just the video. There are musical reasons why I like this. And I'm looking forward to listening to this again without the video as context and seeing how much I enjoy it then. I still think I'm going to really enjoy this one. Ultimately, I think the things that really work for this is, first of all, although it is a bit of a jangly sort of song, it has a real sort of pumping energy to it. That never dies down. Now, I think that's useful when you're going for a sound which is quite, like I say, like mid-rangey. It's kind of working in that sort of strummy territory. Having a bit of a kick from the drums and having a real sort of not fast but persistent beat to it is very useful, because it gives it lays an energy underneath everything that kind of charges everything up. On top of that is the fact that at first, before the first chorus, I was thinking, okay, well, there's only so much that they can do with this. I was wondering how interesting it was actually going to get. But then when they got into the chorus and the female vocal came in as well, I was like, well, okay, that actually makes this more interesting, because that elevates. When we get into the chorus, everything will be elevated by the fact that now we have two singers, and also the fact they're singing in very different range. Their voices work beautifully together. That helps as well. So suddenly the song takes on an extra tone, an extra thickness, an extra life when we get into that point. And then on top of that, they weren't just slapping the vocals over each other. They were doing little things like a little call and answer where he would sing the line, she would sing the line, and a little bit where she was doing the pop sort of backing vocals, like the shoo-wop-de-wop backing vocals in the background, as they would be underneath that vocal. There was loads of little clever play between their vocals that made it so interesting. Ironically, there was a band who I reviewed very recently called Vivid Undress, which would have been a great name for this video, and I had my first ever listen to them, and I remember saying on that one that one of the things that worked above and beyond the good songwriting that they had was the fact that they had a pianist, a piano player, well, on keyboard player but playing a piano sound, who was basically seemed to be improving almost around them, and was just sort of picking in little interesting things, and it meant that the song itself could be simple but kept a refreshing tone by the fact that there was a feeling that underneath the simple groundwork of what was being played, there was more intricacy. There were little things that were going to be different every single time. And the way that they used the backing vocal here, the way they used the female vocal underneath his assumedly lead vocal, was interesting because it felt quite fluid. Yeah, they went around and did the same thing a couple of times in places, but it felt like she was always doing something a little bit imaginative each time round. And then that combined with a bridge that, okay, the bridge wasn't exactly going to change the world, but it was a nice melodic sung bridge, which obviously adds a little bit more to the melody. It means you've got something slightly different happening, keeps things fresh. And it was sung, I believe it was all either mostly or all sung by the female vocalist, the bassist. That again, it just meant that the tone of the song was shifting just enough to stop it just becoming jangle, jangle, mid-range, sleepy vocal, everything finishes. It had more to it. And like I say, the mixture of that sort of persistent beat underneath it and that interesting playful vocal on the top gave you both the charm and the energy at the same time, and infused together means that everything in the middle could just sound more like a sort of a rock core, sort of soft rock core to the song. So it meant that the song sounded more balanced, like there was a tension and there was variation in what each part of the song was doing. It felt like something interesting and well layered, well designed. Now, on top of that, I wanted to add something about the chorus, because like I say, the chorus, usually I would object to this sort of thing where it's almost the entire chorus is backwards and forwards between two chords and just one line over and over again. I think this might have been aided by the video. And that eventual final line where you're sort of understanding he's saying, I love you, maybe, I love you, probably. There's sort of sense of doubt to it. It made the persistence of that line much more fun, because he's kind of over and over saying, Aishiteru. I didn't pronounce that right. Aishiteru. And it's sort of like, I love you, over and over, but there's this sort of doubt to it. It has a charm because it actually really, the whole melody, the way it kind of goes over and the way it repeats, it's like this sort of persistent, I'm telling myself, I feel this. And then at the end, maybe. I think that really works because what it lacks in musical complication, it makes up for in a real sense of personality, because it has that slightly desperately unsure quality to it that is full of personality. And like when he's singing it and then she's singing it as well, they're both singing it, it sounds all the more like, yeah, I tell myself this, I'm telling myself this, I'm telling myself this. It had a real quality to it. In a way, it reminds me of, I can never remember who did the original version. I always think of the cover done by Fun Loving Criminals, but the song I'm Not in Love. Not in love. Da, 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 da. That one, that has a weird charm to it as well, because well, actually, probably more the Fun Loving Criminals version, because they do it in a kind of swingy, it's kind of done with a bit of a swingy sort of jazzy feel. Definitely do check that out if you haven't actually. Whatever you think of that band, do check out their version of that song, because it is really, really interesting, because it has the same quality of this. It has a real sort of, I'm telling myself this, and it's true quality to it. A sort of a denial, I guess you could say. So it had that same charm. So like I said, I enjoyed this on levels that I wouldn't have expected if you told me roughly what it was to begin with. And certainly after the first few seconds in the first verse, I wasn't expecting to enjoy it this much. It kicked off, the video spiked my interest, the chorus increased my interest, and then just seeing how they built on it and played on it made it from something that, yes, on paper, I really wouldn't find myself likely to enjoy this, becoming something where I'm just thinking to myself, I really want to hear more of this band. I really like this song, and I really like the whole way it was presented, and I like their whole attitude towards it. So great stuff. Looking forward to hearing more of them. Obviously, there's always a possibility that maybe just the rest of their stuff does go into a slightly middle-of-the-road jangle rock territory, or maybe they're just very consciously aware of how to make the most out of that sound, or maybe all their songs have very different sounds. Either way, I definitely want to check out more of these guys. Baseball Bear. Thank you so much, as always, for suggesting this band to me. I get my suggestions from you guys a lot of the time, as well as the other videos that I pick up for various reasons, either stuff that's popular or stuff that spikes my own personal interest, for whatever reason. So now is that opportunity where you guys can get in the comments and tell me what you think. This is obviously what the channel is primarily about. I give my subjective opinion as someone who's worked with music my entire life, but that is just an opinion. Everyone's opinions are as important as everyone else's, so I want to hear what you think, whether you know this band, whether you know this song or not, whether you liked it or not. Get in there, tell us what you think, and if you want to get more involved in discussions, remember our social medias are also linked in the description below, where you can follow our Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Discord's the best one for chat. It's really good, that. And also, yeah, a massive thank you to anyone who's previously clicked and followed the Patreon link, because our Patreon supporters are the reason why I'm still able to do this from all the things we've been through. So a massive thank you to all of you, and thank you very much yourself for making it through to the end of this video. So until I hopefully see you in Japan soon again, for now, ciao ciao.